tuned for next story. Snuffy and the Snowman.
One winter morning, Snuffy awoke in a wonderland. A frosty white blanket of snow covered everything in sight. Snowflakes fluttered in the breeze like billions of baby butterflies. There was something special in the air, something enchanting, and it wasn't just the snow. Across the tarmac near the terminal, Snuffy saw old Oscar staring at a huge snowman. He rushed over to investigate, but as he did, old Oscar hurried away. The little skyrider moved up close to get a good look at the snowman. He had a carrot nose, big button eyes, and a smiling mouth made with pieces of coal. A long blue scarf was tied around his neck, and on his head sat a big black derby with a pink hatband. As Snuffy studied the snowman, he got the strange feeling that the snowman was studying him. "What do you think, Snuffy?" It was a voice out of nowhere. Snuffy spun around, and there was Brenda Blue, the airline's ace mechanic. "I made him all by myself," she said. Snuffy was very impressed.
"Gee, Brenda, he's great. You know, he almost looks alive."
Later that day, Snuffy joined JJ, Tracy, and Savannah on a sightseeing trip to the nearby hills. They stopped at Savannah's favorite overlook. It was the perfect spot for taking in a grand view of beautiful Tarrytown Valley. Above the snow-covered landscape, white puffy clouds floated high in the sky.
"Look, that cloud looks like a big fish,"
JJ said.
I see it, and there's one that looks like a flower,
said Tracy.
Yes, it looks like a daisy, doesn't it?
Savannah said. Snuffy thought that he saw something else.
"Do you see that cloud that looks like a snowman?"
he asked. JJ didn't see it. Tracy didn't see it, nor did Savannah.
"There he is, going behind that big cloud on the right,"
Snuffy cried. But his friends still didn't see it. Snuffy began to think that what he had seen wasn't a cloud at all, but a real snowman. When it was time to go, he decided to stay a little longer to watch the clouds for the snowman in the sky. As soon as the others had gone, Snuffy returned his gaze skyward, and within a few moments, the snowman reappeared. He smiled at Snuffy, then flew out of the clouds and swooped down toward the hilltop. Circling just above Snuffy's perch, the snowman said, "Want to come fly with me?"
"Fly with you?"
Snuffy couldn't believe it.
"Sure, I'd love to fly with a snowman."
And with that, they took off together for the sky blue sky. Snuffy thought his flying companion looked a lot like the snowman that Brenda Blue had made. He had a carrot nose, big button eyes, and a smiling mouth made of coals. He wore a long blue scarf and a big black derby with a pink hatband.
"How curious,"
Snuffy thought. Then he said,
"I didn't know snowmen could fly. Reading, soaring, life is never boring with magical, imaginal eyes. Since I found them, I've never been without them, my magical, imaginal eyes. You never can guess what you'll see in the sky. A book on the wing, a duck in a tie, why even a train or a snowman might fly with my magical, imaginal eyes. With my magical, imaginal eyes."
After a fun flight, Snuffy landed back at the hilltop. As the snowman was circling to say goodbye, a gust of wind blew his hat straight up into the sky.
"Whoa, there goes my derby,"
he cried.
"I'd better go get it."
Snuffy watched until the snowman disappeared into the clouds. As soon as Snuffy got back home, he sped across the tarmac to see if the snowman was there. Sure enough, there he stood. Carrot nose, big button eyes, smiling mouth, long blue scarf. But there was one thing missing. His big black hat with the pink hat band. Snuffy greeted the snowman with a smile and said,
I guess you couldn't find your hat.
The snowman said nothing. He just stared straight ahead. Just then, Brenda Blue walked up holding the snowman's derby. Guess what, Snuffy? Big Jake found this hat way across the valley, she said.
How do you think it got there?
Snuffy asked. Brenda Blue looked puzzled. Good question, Snuffy. I guess it was the wind.
Yes, it was probably the wind.
Early the next morning, Snuffy rushed out of the hangar to see the snowman.
I'll meet you at the hilltop,
Snuffy whispered.
We could fly all day long.
The snowman made no reply. From the hangar, old Oscar watched as Snuffy sped down the runway. The little Skyrider was looking forward to another fun day with his new friend. And as he flew across the valley, he sang the snowman's song.
Grieving, sorry, life is never boring with magical, imaginal eyes.
My dandy, always keep 'em handy. My magical, imaginal eyes. Suddenly, Snuffy heard another voice singing the song. He spun around expecting to see the snowman. But instead, much to his surprise, it was old Oscar.
Oscar, how do you know the words to the song?
Snuffy asked. You know what, Snuffy? I'd forgotten all about that song until I heard you singing it, old Oscar said.
But Oscar, how did you learn the song in the first place?
Well, son, many, many years ago, when I was about your age, on a snowy day just like today, a strange thing happened.
The end.